Today in our School Matters series, we're looking at how teachers are feeling at the start of the school year, from seeing kids in the classroom again to creating lessons designed to get them up to speed. Chris Sanchez, known as Mr. K to his students, teaches kindergarten in Los Angeles, and he taught virtually last year, but he's now back in his classroom with 29 youngsters. Mr. K shows us now how he's helping students feel supported during the pandemic.
Ready, set, count. 1, 2, 3.
The pandemic itself was extremely challenging on teachers. We had to make huge adjustments to the curriculum. Going into this year, now that we're in person, it's really teaching at their grade level and finding ways to creatively incorporate things that they might have not learned last year. I could say, all right, everyone, let's count with me, and then just take a look at which students are super excited to count because they know, and maybe which students are a little bit closed off because they don't know their numbers.
We've been working with math tools.
This year's been a little different than years prior.
Sound good?
These students haven't had preschool. If there is a topic they don't understand or know, it's really great to address it in the moment, have them repeat it, and then they learn it.
You try. Very good. So
I think the topic of holding students back has to be a decision that's not made by just one person, but as a unit.
it's math time. It's math time.
Teaching kindergarten brings so much joy, and I want them to leave me knowing how to read, falling in love with their favorite storybook, how to count to 100. You'll hear the phrase, you never forget your kindergarten teacher. I think kindergarten is such a huge, pivotal year for students. We're setting them up for the rest of their time in their educational journey.
I am incredible. Like the Hulk.
Mr. K.
Mr. K, like him.
Well, we do like him, and we are joined now by another Mr. K,
Yes.
Sal Khan, the founder and CEO of Khan Academy. It's a nonprofit that offers free educational lessons online, and it's excellent. I use it all the time, even for grown-up things. Sal, nice to see you again. So we know things are not good out there in the land of learning, and parents are trying to help their youngsters pick up some ground before the school year. How can they do that best?
Yeah, the reality is, even before the pandemic, in a class of 29 or 30 students like we just saw, there's a huge spread of students. Some kids are ready to move ahead. Some kids need a little bit more help filling their foundations. We know that as we get back to school now, there's going to be even a bigger variation in students. A lot of students are going to need some significant help, while some kids are ready to continue at grade level or beyond. So my recommendation for parents, wherever your child is on that spectrum, try to supplement with other things. And that's why Khan Academy exists. Everything I talk about is free, funded by philanthropy. Work on Khan Academy 20 minutes a day, especially in math. We have 50 efficacy studies that it can significantly grow students. Khan Academy Kids is an early learning app where students, we've had a UMass study where students spend 20 minutes a day. These are 2 to 8-year-olds, so this is early learning, and they're able to close the gap between kids in the bottom quartile and kids who are operating at the median. We also have an initiative, another not-for-profit, all free, called schoolhouse.world, free tutoring. Yes, free tutoring, where people can go, and we do it through having high-quality vetted volunteers, but we have a lot of capacity for more students. That's for 13 and over. That's in math and science and SAT prep right now. But it's these types of things that if you supplement it on top of what you're doing in school, 20 minutes a day, doesn't have to be some huge intervention. That'll give you that security that if your kid's ready to move ahead and that the class has to slow down to meet some of the other kids' needs, your student will be fine. Or if your class needs to continue at grade level while your student needs some gap filling or finish some unfinished learning, then you're going to be okay as well.
Saul, if a kid is not ready to move ahead, is still having difficulty despite these interventions, and parents are talking about this kind of right now, so that's why I want to ask you, should a child be held back if they're still struggling?
You know, I've written a lot about this. The hard question here is that in the traditional school model, we have academics and social progression happen at the same time. And if it was just about academics, I'm a big believer in mastery learning, that you should be able to have the opportunity and the incentive to fill any gaps that you might have. But the problem is it has all sorts of other social consequences. Yeah. So as a parent or as an educator, I would try my best to do whatever gap filling, remediation. If you use Schoolhouse for tutoring, use Khan Academy, get whatever help you can. Most school districts have intervention programs so that you can keep your student with their cohort. And a lot of students are in the same boat this year. So I think the school will be very accommodating of that.
All right, Sal Khan, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We do appreciate it. A lot of good advice there.